Hi, this is Sam Phelps with TFG Valuation Services. I'm the Director of Valuation Services here, and we work with Tenant Financial Group to help with your annual, interim, and initial valuations for your Rob's Rollover 401k program. Today, we're going to be going over the questionnaire that asks a few key questions that help us better do your valuation. So without further ado, let's jump right in. First and foremost, you're looking at the email that you would receive from TFG Valuation Services in order to access your questionnaire. You would click on the hyperlink here, which would immediately take you to this page. We'll start at the top, the general information. Your business name, your business address, suite number, are all important information, so we can make sure we address it properly and also have it loaded into your file. The DBA or trade name. Sometimes we have clients that are operating under a different name, DBA, and so we just want to make sure we have that accurate information. Moving on, your business website. The website just gives us some details. Sometimes if we need to go and check a few details, we want to make sure we understand exactly what you do. Now, your primary owner name, phone, and email, that's just to make sure, again, that we have it properly loaded into our valuation software and you're addressed correctly throughout. Finally, the reason for valuation. Most of you will be filling out for your annual 5500 report filing. That is why we do the valuation for Tenant Financial Group. Feel free to plug that in. Generally, the three ones are going to be your initial, which is when you form your plan and are participating in the ROBS program and getting that set up. An interim, sometimes that's in between the annual valuations where you're wanting to move stock, purchase stock and move funds into the plan. And then finally, your annual valuation. So just let us know if it's outside of one of those three, but generally those will be the three that you have. Moving on to ownership information, the shareholder names, titles, positions, and number of shares owned. The goal here is to make sure we have accurate information. I will be accessing the shareholder information that's provided by tenant. So if it's the same as that or nothing's changed from the prior year, you can fill that out. The next couple of questions, the total number of shares authorized and total number of shares outstanding. Your shares authorized are what you have authorized through your company to go out. That does not mean they're outstanding. Outstanding means held by the individuals that own stock in the company. That is generally owned by the plan and owned by you or your business partners. Be sure to just document that. If you're unsure and nothing's changed, you can just say, hey, take a look at what Tenant Financial has on file, and I will follow those shares outstanding for my report. It's important that if there are any changes to these, that you note them, as I will want to make sure I have the most accurate valuation for your company. Moving on, the industry codes, NAICS and SIC codes. You can find the links here. And we'll go ahead and go real quick so we can show you what this looks like. Bear with me 1 second, but you should see this on your screen. The NAICS is a North American industry classification system, and the SIC stands for Standard Industrial Classification Search. So the easiest way to look is I like to use the keyword. And so I would let's use one that's a pretty easy one. Let's just use accounting. So then you would have these number codes. And so you would pick the one that best applies to your business and just copy over. So 423, 420. And you would put 423, 420. What that allows me to do is access comparable companies based on your asset size, your sales size, and that'll be reflected in your valuation. It just makes your valuation that much more valuable to you, and also allows us to make sure we have the proper comparables that will be applicable to your industry and business. The SIC is the same. We would, again, plug in accounting, and then they would issue their codes. They're a little shorter But sometimes, you may not be able to find what you're looking for in NAICS and you can find it for SIC. There's no preference for us. Just pick one and let us know the number. And then, of course, we'll copy this over. We did not add that earlier. So we have that information. Now, moving on, is your business a franchise? We work with a lot of franchises. So if it is, you would click yes. If so, what is the franchise website? That just gives us a little more information. Just like your business website, we can go and check on the franchise. Also, what type of business? I'm guessing it's a C Corp if you're with Tenant Financial Group. So just list what it is, C Corp, LLC, partnership. That does have an effect on some of the things we do within the valuation. Now, moving on, the state of incorporation. Again, this is a drop down. Just pick the state and then what date you founded your business. Usually that's the date of when your articles of incorporation were filed. So if you have those, go take a look and see when that happened. If you worked with Tenant, there's usually part of your binder that will have that information in there. Now, moving on to business operations. This is where we get some background on your business and make sure that we have good information. So a brief description of your business. This doesn't have to be a long story, just a quick, what do we do, who we are, and to make sure we have all that information. Number of employees. This is critical. And, just give us the full and part-time, because this allows us, again, use it during the valuation process to make sure we compare to businesses that are similar to your company in the size of their operation. Now, the next two questions deal with owner compensation. So what are you paying yourself as an owner? What are you paying yourself as as multiple owners? And put that in this cell here. So if it's 100,000, we enter 100,000. What is a reasonable compensation for an employee that would perform the functions currently being completed by the owner? Here's where we can make some changes on your valuation. So let's say you are paying yourself 100,000, but 50,000 would be a reasonable number for as someone to replace you in the actions you're doing. That allows me to use that difference and put it into your valuation as some cash flow that might be available. Again, just take a look. It may not be applicable for your industry or your specific situation on your financial statements, and that's okay to just put the same number there. And so the final two questions are, what are your growth and revenue for the next 3 years? And what are your net earnings forecasts or your net income? So after all your expenses are taken out, what is that bottom line? What do you expect to grow? So we're looking for percentage growth here, both on the top line for sales and then the bottom line of the net earnings of the company. So let us know. That helps because valuations are always with cash flow going forward. So if you can help us with giving us those percentages, that'll help me make a better valuation for you. And so finally, we move down to what was needed from you. The financial statements or tax returns for the last 3 years. Don't worry if you've only been in operations for 2 years. 2 years is just fine. And then finally, make sure if you're doing an interim valuation, we will need a current mid-year or interim financial statement. That's the balance sheet and income statement of that date of when you want to make that money transfer or purchase shares of stock in your plan and move some money in. So please review this. All your documents, again, can be uploaded by clicking on this hyperlink. It's a similar link to what you do with your plan documents. If you have any questions, we are always here to help. We look forward to serving you. And please reach out. Thank you.